Hey guys, it's me, Wilson, and we're back for another video on F1 22. We're here for a bit of a different video. I thought I would post a tweet on Twitter saying, tell me the things you want to see in the F1 game. I wanted to make another F1 video, as obviously there's a lot of hype surrounding the game at the moment, and I didn't know really what video I could make, so I thought I'll ask you guys questions, put in what you want to see, and we'll go through them. So yeah, let's get straight into it. I've got quite a few comments under the tweet, quite a few interesting ones as well. So yeah, let's get into it. So there's not too much I can say really. It wasn't really a question, but I thought I'd put it in the video anyway. The traction is a lot worse than last game. I don't know if it'll change too much if you change the setups, because I think the default setup is pretty high suspension and roll bar, so that could be a major impact or a major factor. As you see, I come out the corner there, put the foot down, and it's pretty nippy. But yeah, I don't know if that's because the default setup is fairly aggressive in suspension. It could be that, or it could just genuinely be that naturally the game is going to be quite poor in traction. It is a shame, as in real life the traction is even better than last game 21, for example. So yeah, it's what it is. As you see, the meter boards there are a bit messed up. Waiting for somebody to comment on that. That is it is a beta, so a lot of things are all over the place, so just keep that in mind. But yeah, also with the hairpins, I use third gear here, for example. I don't think fourth gear, I think people need to remember as well that this is a simcade. It's not made to be a sim racing game. If Codemasters wanted to make a game more catered towards sim racers, they could try and make something like Project Cars again, something like that. But you've got to remember, this is a simcade. They're not going full out realism. As you can see, the traction getting pretty poor there. But yeah, that's all I can really say. High gears isn't too bad. I mean, we've only seen a few people using high gears of hairpins, but yeah, I guess it is what it is. Yeah, that's really all I can say about that question, to be honest. Now, I quite like this question. I thought it was quite a good one, a different one, to say the least, compared to the other ones. So I thought, let's check it out. But you're going to be disappointed, Almanda, because there's no option here to do this at all. I don't know if it might change once the full game comes out, because again, this is a beta, so there's still a lot of things to be added to this game. But yeah, as you can see here, I'm trying to check things out. Nothing's really working, and yeah, there was no different option or anything compared to the last game that proved to me that you could, look about when the cars are moving. Sorry, I lost my words there. But nevertheless, I did look about, take a few screenshots. Game's pretty much the same as last game. As you can see, I took a screenshot here. Pretty nice screenshot, actually. This is actually me trying to make one of my thumbnails for another video. So yeah, it's not got your desire, but yeah, it's kind of just stayed the same. It might change for next game. As I said, this is a beta, so it has a lot of room to improve, but so far there's literally no difference to the old one. From what I've seen, at least, it's the exact same. Maybe the cars look a bit more crisp. I don't know, it could just be me and the placebo effect. But yeah, there's literally no difference, and I hope that answers your question. Also, like this question from Kai, he was asking if the times have got slower. So far, you could say yes, but it is on default setup. As you can see here at Imola, the record is a 14.7 by Nico. I think on PC, on 21, it's a 13.0 or a 13.1. Maybe even a 12.9. I don't think it is though. I think it's a 0.0.1 by Valentin Vasta Racers. So they might, I think they will be slower. But once you put setups on, I don't think there'll be a second slower. Maybe not. I could be completely wrong. But this is what the benchmark is at the moment. Without setups, that's about a second and a half off. So maybe we still might be half a second, maybe more off, depending how much setups improve. And as you can see, Nico elongated the record there again, 0.7, 26.7. And I think on the 21 game, it's a 25.3. So around a track which there's not much time to gain. Pretty big time difference. We look at Austria again, 4.1. I think the record in F1, it's actually very quick. It's a big difference here. I think we're in the mid to low 2s. I could be completely wrong. But yeah, something like that. The times are definitely slower. The cars are definitely slower. But I don't know how close the cars will be once you put a setup on. I'd imagine half a second to a second off. I could be wrong. Curbs also interact differently with the cars this game, so that kind of slows them down as well. In a good way, they interact differently, not a bad way. But yeah, you can see there, Barry's got the record there, 32.4. That's a long way off, and on 21, I think the record's in the 29s. So yeah, pretty long way off there. But it's not necessarily a bad thing. The cars feel great in my opinion. I quite enjoy them. But yeah, I think we'll be roughly half a second to a second, maybe more, off the 21 times once we've put proper setups on. So I hope that answers your question. So this question is from Slimbo. He was asking about the handling damage online. Sadly, I cannot show any online at all, as we do not have any online in this beta, as we have a massive tank slapper there. I did want to test out the damage. I believe this is the clip I test out the damage. Yes, it is. So I think, if I'm not mistaken, I could be completely wrong here. I done 2 tests where I drive into it. Yep, and this is the one with simulation damage. So still get rear wing damage. Nothing. If you're wondering why nothing is showing, it's because the beta, again, it's a beta, so it's not going to show everything. But we do test any more damages as I fly into the side of all these cars. I was wondering if maybe anything different would happen as we look on our replay cam, just looking to see maybe if we can see any damages, as it was a pretty big hit, to be fair. But we do actually start to see damages. You can see in the side pod there, it gets scraped up pretty badly. You can see it transitioning to getting scraped up. And then below, on the left side, if I look over to any moment now, the left side there, you can see it's the bottom. I can't speak. It's like the bottom left of the floor, just in front of the rear right wheel. You can see it actually gets a bit damaged there. So visibly, I don't know if that's any different, but that is the damage differences. But handling wise, the game, the best way I can explain it, again, this is default setup. The cars have a lot more initial understeer. But the mid-corner grip's much better. The slow speed grip feels quite better. You can definitely tell the cars are a lot more heavy. It's a lot more visible to maybe even that naked eye when you're driving. But yeah, I quite like the handling. You've kind of got to feel it for yourself. Traction's quite difficult, but overall, you can still tell it's an F1 game. But I quite like it personally. Now, this is a good question. Setups. This has actually changed a little bit this year. As you can see, we go into setups, and we actually have a lot more wing choices. Everything else has actually stayed the same, but the wing choices have changed pretty dramatically. It's now 0 to 50 on the wing choices, which is going to be quite interesting. I haven't actually tested setups at all. I've not really played the game. Some people have nearly 40 hours in the beta. I've got about 5. So I've not really played it in a competitive sense yet. So I've not tried to see how minuscule or how different each click does. And when I say that, I mean how much time, for example, maybe you lose in the straight with 1 click. Do you feel a lot more turn in with 1 click? Stuff like that. I've not really tried it, but yeah, everything else has stayed the same. You can see diff, on diff, off diff. It's all stayed the same. As I say all the time when I'm making these videos, it's still subject to change. The game is a beta, so they could still most definitely bring out some completely different things. But yeah, as you can see, tire pressures are all the same. It's just the wings that are the biggest difference. And I think it's quite a good thing. It'll give us a bit more variety in setups, hopefully. Hopefully it'll make the start of the game a bit more interesting when people try and figure out the new meta, if you like, on these cars. See what setups, see what wings work. Hopefully we don't have to overlap the wings. The cars feel pretty good in default setup without overlapping the wings. But yeah, I hope that answers your question. This is the setups. I can't really tell you what works or what doesn't because I've not tried it at all. Maybe you could ask somebody like Barry or Nico. They've grinded pretty hard on this beta. Maybe they know more than me, but I can't imagine they don't want to give their tricks and setup tricks away. But yeah, hope that answers your question. Pretty different this year, and yeah, quite interesting setups. Now, this is a very good question from Primo. I was going to jump straight into realistic curbs. So when I saw this question, I thought, let's head to Imola and try out these sausage curbs. As you can see, trying them out right now, they actually spin you out. Now, on previous games, these curbs, or previous game, it's only been the previous game, these curbs would not spin you. You could hit these and actually gain time, but it looks like even if you don't spin in these curbs, you're going to lose time. It's not the quickest way, and I think it's getting a little bit more realistic. It's also like this at other tracks, so I hope that answers your question, Supremos. Good question as well. So this is a good question as well, as we still test out these curbs. As you can see, I was just flashbacking it. But yes, this is a good question as well. How does the game compare to last game, braking wise, handling wise? I know I already answered this in Slimbo's question, but I thought I'd go into a little bit more detail on this one. Pretty much, the braking is definitely better, 100% better. Again, I don't know, maybe if the braking's better due to a setup. This is default setup, but the braking is 100% better. I rarely find myself locking up, which is a good thing, because in real life they constantly comment on how difficult the braking is in these games compared to real life. The braking is 100% better. You don't find yourself rear locking to how do I say it, rotate the car. I've not found myself doing that, at least. It's pretty good. And on the handling comment, as I said with Slimbos, there's a lot of mid-corner grip, I feel. Slow speed grip's improved a bit. You can definitely tell the cars are a lot more heavy. They also interact with these curbs a lot more different, a lot more stiff like real life, and you can't really, how do I say it, like destroy the curbs like you used to, especially some entry curbs, like the entry curbs at USA. If you use them the wrong way, or you use some don't let you use them at all, you'll bottom out and just go straight on. Especially the turn 3 corner at Silverstone, if you use that entry curb in the left, you will bottom out and just go straight on. So it is pretty improved, and I'd say it's an improvement from last game. So this was also a pretty interesting question. What happens if you pit in the formation lap? So I thought I'd give it a go. Coming into the pits now in the Alfa Romeo, and yeah, that's what happens. I was hoping maybe we could go in the pits and maybe do a pit lane start or something, but yeah, that is what happens. It would have been quite cool if you could have went into the pits. Maybe Lees could introduce pit lane starts or something as a punishment. But good question, Marcus. I was pretty intrigued myself, actually, to figure out what happened with that. But yeah, sadly, nothing really happened. But very good question. I think that was pretty interesting, actually. And yeah, nothing really happens from it. But if you guys have enjoyed this video, please leave a like, subscribe, all that stuff. It was pretty hard to compact the whole video into one. Need to be pretty quick with it. But I hope you guys enjoyed it. It was pretty limited in the questions I could answer. I got a lot of questions about career, all this stuff. But obviously, I can't show that at the moment. I literally don't have the option. So I missed quite a lot of good questions out. Sorry if I missed yours out. I also missed out a few due to time. But if you guys have enjoyed this video, please leave a like, subscribe, all that fancy stuff. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.